It is especially for the student who want to do their articleship from Big Fours. To enlighten you all on the topic, we have with us CA Adarsh Gupta ji, Senior Consultant Grant Thornton, CA Mudit Goyal ji, ex-consultant E&Y, and CA Mohit Kapila ji, Associate Director, KPMG. I, on the behalf of Chandigarh branch, welcome all the guest speakers. Now, because as you all know, today we are living in a information era, so right kind of information is every time required. और हमें आज इस राइट इंफॉर्मेशन देने के लिए हमारे साथ ये तीन ट्राई से जो बिग फोर फर्म से कंसल्ट एसोसिएटेड हैं आज हमारे बीच में हैं. So I, on the behalf of Chandigarh branch, welcome all the guest speakers for the day. They will enlighten us on the topics given. So now I request and invite our Treasurer CA Vishal Puri ji to have few words with all of us. Over to Vishal ji. Yeah, Vishal ji is there, sir?
I think, sir.
Sir is not there, I think. Oh, not an issue. So going ahead, yeah.
Vishal ji, are we audible?
Vishal ji.
Your voice is not coming, Vishal ji.
Let it take Saurav first.
Till the time he starts, sir, we can.
No, till the time, okay, not an issue. So going further, Vishal ji has some problem, connectivity problem, I think so. So I request and invite Nikasa Chairman CA Saurav Goyal ji to have few words with us, and thanks Saurav ji for taking initiative for today's seminar. Over to Saurav ji, sir.
Thank you, Kakar Saab. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Sir, first of all, a very good morning to all the students who have joined this seminar, all committee members, our guest speaker, Adarsh ji from GT, my elder brother, Mudit ji from EY, Mohit ji from KPMG. A very warm welcome to all of you. I hope everybody is staying safe at their home. So the theme of the today's seminar is importance of articleship and what difference it makes basically to do it from Big Fours. So to begin with, I just want to reiterate that I got a lot of calls from students that during articleship there is always ambiguity what we should focus more upon, studies or articleship, because mostly people say that to clear the examination, CA exam is the ultimate priority. So in this aspect, I personally feel that articleship is the most important part of our profession. One who don't take articleship seriously, students, they far lag behind from those who do it properly. There is no shortcut in this learning process. It's a complete learning process. To become a complete professional, you need to learn everything from basics to advanced level. So that thing you only learn during articleship. I personally believe that people normally think that after completing CA, they can learn the work at a later stage in 6 months. At a later stage, they can spend their time in learning the thing which normally people learn in articleship. But let me tell you, sir, it's a complete process of 3 years, which our institute has made it mandatory. And we learn gradually all these things in articleship, from basics to finalization of books, then income tax part, compliance part, GST part, litigation part. You all learn these things in articleship period only. So there is no shortcut. We cannot rely upon that we can learn at a later stage after completing this CA. I think my elder brother Adarsh can tell you better regarding this, who has a vast experience in this field. So in the end, I would like to tell you that only a small thing, quote rather I would say that कामयाब नहीं काबिल बनो, कामयाबी अपने आप आपके पीछे आएगी. So during this articleship period, you learn how to become kabil in your career. So doing the articleship properly and gaining those skills is an integral part of this our CA profession, and I request all the students to take it very seriously, because in this process only, learning process only, you learn so many things, you make mistakes, you learn so many things, and to become an all-round professional, this is only the 3 years period where you can learn n number of things. So from here onwards, I would like to request Kakkarji to take it forward. Thank you very much, sir. And in the end, we will have QA and session also. So request Kakkarji uh, to let the audience know that we have QA and session in the end also, sir,
Okay.
so that students can
Yes, sir.
give their queries. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you सौरभ जी, thank you जी, thanks a lot. You have rightly said, sir. फाउंडेशन अच्छी होनी चाहिए, उसके बाद ही हम उसके ऊपर जो बिल्डिंग है वो भी स्टे कर पाती है जी.
Definitely, sir. Yes, I
If
believe.
Vishal ji is there, Vishal ji, are you audible? Not an issue. So now I request CM Ito Singh Kambodji, Chairman Chandigarh branch, to deliver his welcome address. Over to Chairman, sir.
Thanks a lot, Kakkar Saab, and thanks a lot, Saurav, for taking up this initiative today. Very rightly said by Saurav, and I welcome, first of all the three dignitaries for today's webinar, CA Adarsh Gupta, CA Mudit Goyal, as well as CA Mohit Kapila ji, for being with us for today's webinar on understanding what it takes to do an articleship in Big Four. Primarily, we are not trying to differentiate anything through this webinar to what is there in Big Fours and what is not there in the other small or medium enterprises. But what we try to understand from today's webinar is, because all these three speakers, if we talk about, they were, because like say, for Mudit, I know him for the past 11 to 12 years, and he has done his articleship from small and medium CA firms only. And the same I can count on both Mudit, Mohit, as well as Adarsh. So today we are just trying to understand that, because as Saurav said, lot of queries come, or lot of articles who join our organizations also. Everybody tries to dream big, and in our CA fraternity, Big Fours carry a very big name. If we look at the moment we all pass out, I think even when I got passed out 14 years back, I had a dream to join Big Four. So it's something like for other corporates or for other professionals, for CAs, for CA fraternity, for CA aspirants, Big Four is a very big thing if we look upon to. So who better than these three people who are from our own Tri-City and have been uh, carrying that name and fame in the Big Fours, will be with us today and putting up their deliberation on the importance of articleship, what it is there in Big Fours, the challenges or the opportunities which are there in the Big Fours. Through that understanding, we can, all those students who have joined us, they can just compare. I am of the a firm belief that the small and medium enterprises also carry the same kind of experience and technology and everything. There are small differences. There is a brand which has been attached to those Big Fours, but this is what these three faculties for today will be sharing their thoughts with us. So once again, Saurav, thanks a lot for taking up this initiative, and I once again welcome all the three speakers for the day and look forward to their deliberation. Thanks a lot. Over to Bhakkaji.
Kakkar Saab, your voice is not audible.
Hello. Now I am audible,
Yes,
sir?
yes, yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Thanks a lot, Chairman, sir. Rightly said by you, sir. There is a small differences are there. So our first speaker, Adarsh Gupta ji, will discuss on the importance of articleship and what make it different to do articleship with the Big Four consulting firm. Adarsh ji is a chartered accountant by qualification with a distinction of holding All India rank 8th. He is also an alumni of IIM Calcutta and over 8 years of experience in the field of indirect taxation. Presently, Adarsh ji is manager indirect tax at Grant Thornton. Now I request and invite CA Adarsh ji to enlighten the student on the topic given. Over to Adarsh ji.
Thanks, Anil ji, for the introduction.
Okay.
Adarsh, just a second. I also welcome our Vice Chairman Upkar sir. Upkar sir have also joined. So, sir.
Okay, we also welcome Upkar ji.
Please take up Adarsh, please.
Okay, Adarsh, please take up your.
Thanks, Anilji, for the introduction. Just a quick confirmation again, if I am audible.
Yeah.
Yes,
You are audible.
Adarsh, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Go ahead, sir.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you are safe and taking care of yourself and your families in these tough times. I must thank the Chandigarh branch for inviting me to deliberate on this important discussion and share some perspective on what difference does it makes to do articleship in these big size firms. This assumes more importance because, as I understand, most of the students these days tend to get attracted towards these firms and certainly have a doubt whether it is worth it to invest your time with these firms. Before we really get into the topic, please feel free to send in your questions over the chat box. We'll try our best to clarify most of your doubts, though we have a specific Q&A session at the end of this webinar. To give you some background about myself, I'm, as Anilji has rightly said, I'm part of the tax team at GT Chandigarh, and it's been almost 4 years since I'm associated with the firm. Prior to Grant Thornton, I was taking care of taxation of the Bharti Group here in Chandigarh only. Though I myself do not hold any experience of doing an articleship with any of the big firms, though I wished to. However, whatever knowledge and experience I have gained over these last 4 years.
How are you? Hello.
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Okay. So, can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir.
Okay. So coming back on the topic, why articleship is important? Is it required? Does it serve any purpose? To give you some background, we all know that ICAI was formed in the year 1949. And do you know what used to happen prior to 1949? Companies Act 1913 prescribed a list of books to be maintained by the companies. And there was also a requirement of appointment of auditors. And accordingly, around 1918, a course called as Government Diploma in Accountancy was launched. And it also had a requirement of 3 years of mandatory training. So the concept of articleship is now more than 100 years old. And something must be right about this, which is still being continued and practiced. Personally, I believe that you really cannot learn swimming without going into the water. Similarly, articleship helps you to understand accounting practically, along with the theoretical knowledge which we gain during our course of studies. So now comes the important question. Where do I do my articleship? Does it make any difference to join these big firms? How many of us, I believe we have more than 50 participants here. If I can get a quick yes in the chat box, how many of you get attracted towards these firms and wish to join them, so that I can get some fair bit of an understanding whether students really want to join these big firms.
A lot of yes is there, sir.
All right. I'm getting a lot of
yes are there,
a lot of interested.
And as the webinar is going on YouTube also, and it is for further reference, it will be used.
So, okay. Thank you so much. Before, I think some of the important factors which you all need to consider, all those who have given a yes to join these big firms, I think some of the important factors which you need to consider before you venture into this idea of working with these firms could be, for me, the most important area is my area of interest. Whether I want to be a jack of all trades or whether I want to be a subject matter expert. important factors which you all need to, and these two things are very important to me. And what these firms give you is the exposure to huge scale of operations due to the kind of clientage they have. And in case you are clear that you want to make your career into a particular field, you may explore this idea of joining these big firms. And some of you can ask me, what if I'm not clear which field I should choose? To give you an example, even I was also not sure when I did my articleship, what do I wanted to do in my career, or whether I wanted to take up taxation. And it was by destiny that I entered taxation, and today I am handling this role. So what you need to do, you can talk to your seniors which line is good. Broadly, if I give you some idea, these firms are divided into three main categories of work division. One which we call as assurance. Assurance is basically audit. The second is taxation. Taxation includes both direct taxation and indirect taxation. And the third one is advisory. So so you need to make up your mind in which field you want to make your career into, because once you enter these firms, you tend to work into a particular set of expertise. And once you join a particular set of expertise, it becomes slightly difficult to change your line and to change your profile. And in my experience of last 4 years, I've hardly seen any case or any article changing his role or moving from one profile to another. So before you enter into any of these big firms, you need to have a very clear understanding which particular area is your interest, and whether you want to take up your articleship into that particular area. So the second important factor which I would consider before joining these firms would be the distance of these firms from my location. And Chandigarh being a smaller city, and uh, what I understand, the opportunities available in Chandigarh being for trainees being lesser in comparison to what there are in the big metros. So traveling can be a big time consumer, and whatever time you save in daily commuting can be a big plus working with smaller firms in Chandigarh. Another important factor which a student should keep in mind should be around working hours. Though it is important, but you cannot do much about it, because most of it depends on several factors, such as your client, your boss, your nature of work, your yourself time management skills, and what is your future perspective, whether you want to do a job after you qualify as a chartered accountant, or whether you want to do practice. And working with smaller firms give you a slight edge, understanding what nitty-gritties of practice is, and how things work in practical world. Because working with big firms, you work with big clients. Uh, the the kind of work you do with these big four is very different from what we do in a mid-size or a smaller size firm. And accordingly, you need to be clear what is your future perspective, whether you want to do your job, or whether you want to enter into practice. To give you some background on the different kind of avenues available for the students to enter into big firms. Uh, Talking about Grant Thornton, we have three different ways in which a student can join Grant Thornton. One is when where an article trainee directly enrolls with the firm as per the ICAI regulation, wherein the student gets enrolled to a partner and directly under him. The second is where we enter into a contract of service, which essentially means that you get enrolled under a chartered accountant, and then that chartered accountant makes an agreement with the firm, wherein that student works with the firm. However, he's doing his as per institute, his principal is another chartered accountant who is not associated with the firm. In these cases, most of the students get enrolled like this mechanism only. And once a student completes his 3 years of training, the firm gives an experience certificate to the students, and usually these students gets absorbed in the firm only. And the third is a secondary, what we call it as a secondment article trainee, which usually comes and joins the firm for a minimum period of 4 months and a maximum period of 1 year. So these are the different options under which a student can join Grant Thornton. And now the important question is, does it make any difference to do articleship with the big firms? And is it important that the students work with these firms? And what difference basically these big firms do in comparison to smaller or mid-sized firms? So the first and foremost is the exposure which you get. This is the common word which everyone hears. Because the exposure working with these firms give you an exposure to the corporate world and working styles across different industries. Uh, 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 Even a first year trainee gets to interact with the leadership and gets to interact with senior people of the client, and he gets the exposure he gets basically is quite different to what exposure a student gets in a smaller firm. Another important thing which a student learns is basically crisis management. We work uh, uh, quite literally. There are last minute changes in the schedules. There are stretched working hours, critical deadlines. All this become part of your life. Uh, Initially, you may face a little challenge adapting to this, but slowly you start loving it, and it becomes part of your life. But what important is that you need to manage your studies as well as your learning from your articleship, and you need to balance it out. Talking about work culture, these firms are very professional. They have a great work culture. It exposes you, like I said, to meet with the senior experienced professionals. And to give you an example, kind of a work culture in Grant Thornton, we have a kind of a program which is called as a super coach program, wherein there is a particular super coach assigned to a super under whom there are around 7 to 8 people. And the role of this super coach is to make sure that all the coaches working under him are happy working with the firm. And the super coach is assessed. He's rated by his coaches, and one of his key performance indicator is how well the articles love the firm. And this really shows the kind of work culture which these firms want to adapt. Another important difference which makes to work with these firms is the kind of infrastructure they have. Uh, these firms invest a lot in their people. They invest a lot in infrastructure, because in our line, people are basically the assets. And these firms invest a lot in the technology, like different auditing softwares, online document management, and so forth. Apart from infrastructure, you also get to get a lot of grooming, basically, or professional grooming. These are basic things like adopting a particular dress code. You can be a little casual in a mid-sized firm in relation to your dress code, but there is a culture in these firms. People tend to follow that. Nobody teaches this. When the seniors tend to follow a particular dress code, the juniors also start following it. though we have a policy to it, but I've hardly read it. We just learn from our seniors how well they are dressed and a kind of communication skills one should have while interacting with the client. You get to learn a lot of email writing. You get to do a lot of email writing. A lot of emails get exchanged with the client. How to write emails. What is the correct way of business communication? And a lot of exposure is given towards PowerPoint presentations. Trainees in their first year or a second year become experts in preparing PowerPoint presentation. So these are basically the differences on how articleship is different in big firms. Though there are certain advantages working with these firms, there can be some negatives also to it. Particularly in Chandigarh, wherein the size of these firms is not that big. The size which is in Delhi or probably Bombay. So the articleships do not get a lot of opportunities in Chandigarh. So it's not easy to get into these firms, which means that in case you are really passionate to do articleship in these firms, you need to move out to big cities, and which means you would be staying away from your families, and I would personally not like it. And also one thing is, in these firms, you tend to get expertise into a particular area only. So in case you want to learn all the particular areas which a chartered accountant does, basically accountancy, auditing, direct taxation, indirect taxation, and what these firms give you is a particular set of skill in a particular role. For example, if I am into indirect taxation, I hardly know anything about direct taxation other than the basic limits, threshold limits. Other than that, you really don't get time to understand and learn other things. So you tend to be an expert into a particular field, which in case you do not want, it could be a miss for you. Managing studies and training can also be difficult for some students. We have had some experiences wherein students tend to join articleship with us, and after some time they tend to understand that it's not my cup of tea, and I'm not able to manage my studies and my trainings, and they then they start to talk about these things, and probably at the end they might leave the firm. So you need to be absolutely sure on how you are going to manage your studies before you join these firms. Lots of traveling is involved, and in case you're not a travel lover, it could be something not good for you, and you might not like it. And some common misconceptions about these firms, which I like to discuss. People tend to believe that only good scorers or rank holders get opportunities to work with these firms. It's not correct. I myself have interviewed more than 20 trainees, and this is not something, or my colleagues also, we do not really get into a lot of discussion around your scoring in your 10 plus 2 or your entrance exams. So what we basically look into is the clarity of thought, how passionate you are to join these firms, and what loyalty you want to show, and how long commitment you tend to show towards these firms. Another misconception is that references can land you training in these firms. Trust me, references doesn't matter much. Where it can matter is basically your resume can reach to a particular guy, but if you say that reference only will work, trust me, it really doesn't work. A lot of references come to us, but when you have to get your work done, and the job manager is very serious on the kind of team he has. And because in case he hires someone from a reference and it doesn't work out, it will come to the job manager itself. Another misconception is on the strict working hours, on the strict leave policies. It's not like that. Uh, these firms are flexible enough. If a trainee shows a good performance and he has a good understanding, the HR is very lenient on that, and you can avail your leaves, whatever is eligible to you, and they have the policies aligned to the ICAI regulations, and you need not worry about that. You get proper leaves before your exams, and we have had experiences when these articles probably almost in every attempt I see someone scoring a rank from a firm. So it shows the kind of flexibility firm has, and the time which a student gets to manage his studies and his work. So I believe I have touched upon whatever the relevant points are regarding what difference does it make to working with these firms. I'll only suggest to the students that they make up their mind. They should be absolutely clear before joining these firms, and how to get into these firms. Probably I'll leave it to Mudit. Mudit can guide you on that. How one can enter into these firms. I'll not barge into his area. And wishing you all the very best in your professional career. That this was all from my side. You have any queries, you can write back to us, or we can take it up towards the end of the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adarshji. Thanks a lot. Rightly said by Adarshji that choosing the area of interest is very important, and rightly said about the misconception between the student about the leave, about the how to get the big forms articleship. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Adarshji. So now moving forward, how to get placed with big fours, challenges, opportunities, working with these big four. We have with us on this topic, CA Mudit Goyalji is with us. Mudit Goyalji is a practicing chartered accountant having experience of around 9 years in the field of indirect tax and DGFT matters. He has more than 5 years of indirect tax experience working with Deloitte and E&Y, a regular speaker on GST on the various forums. So, not taking much of time, I request and invite Mudit Goyalji to take over the charge and enlighten the student on the topic given. So, over to Mudit, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. So thank you, Adarshji, for setting the foundation for our discussion. So you very well covered the topic of what is the importance of articleship, and what makes a difference of doing an articleship with a Big Four. Now, how to get into a Big Four, that is an important point. So Amitosh ji also mentioned that I am a localite person from Chandigarh. I did my articleship from Aryan Associates, which is a mid-size firm of Chandigarh. And then thereafter, I'll give you my story so that you can understand how you have to get into Big Four. So after qualifying, I appeared for 3 interviews. One was with EY, one was with KPMG, and one was with Deloitte. So in the first 2 interviews, there was no reference. So EY and KPMG, there was no reference, and I got selected in the first go. What was the basis why I got selected in the first go? It was not at all a reference. It was a Bangalore-based location. It was for the taxation field. Generally, we are of a view that getting into tax is difficult, but it was a taxation field. So what actually helped me in getting into Big Four was basically my experience during my articleship. Even that's 2011, 9 years back. I still remember in both my interviews in Bangalore, EY, and KPMG, they actually put forward certain practical questions, scenarios which I had practically handled during my articleship. So certain income tax matters which I had handled during my articleship, those were put forward towards me. And because I was able to sort of handle those situations, answer queries regarding that, I was given a offer letter in those locations. because I was not unwilling to sort of relocate to Bangalore for my career. So I was looking for an option in the North India region, Delhi preferably. So thereafter, through a reference, I got a call from Deloitte, Delhi, for a position in the indirect tax team. So now, whether reference is important, others had covered that also. The reference can only help you to reach the right person. That's it. So after a reference is there, you have to clear an interview. You'll have to prove that you're actually willing to go for the firm. You're actually willing to do the hard work. In my first interview in Deloitte, so I had two interviews in Deloitte. The first one was a flop. The second one was a better. So the reference helped me to have a second chance. So in the first interview, I'll give you what all was asked. In the first interview, I was asked whether you are willing to work from 6 a.m. in the morning to 11 p.m. At night. So I'm not talking about articleship. I'm talking about as a qualified professional I went. So I said no. So I was rejected. But at the same time, I was also the interviewer also wanted to discuss a provision regarding a recent change in law. That was in 2011, point of taxation rules were introduced in service tax. So this interview was in, I think, probably June, and in the budget, February budget, the point of taxation rules were introduced. And unfortunately, I was sort of unaware about those provisions that something new has come into service tax, and I'm appearing for an interview with the indirect tax team of Deloitte. So therefore, the first interview was a flop because of the reference that helped me another chance. And next time, that was a month later, I prepared well, went ahead with the interview, and the person who was taking the interview, we had a sort of a casual chat. And in the casual chat, I had brought the printout of the point of taxation rules, and I had certain queries on the point of taxation rules, how each rule has to be interpreted. And I had put forward those questions to the interviewer, and based on that discussion, he decided that this person seems interested to make a career in indirect taxes. He wants to learn. Though I didn't had a background of any indirect taxes. In my articleship, I had done small amount of VAT or some service tax. Mostly it was income tax and audits. But now he saw that this person is willing to learn. He wants to make a career in indirect tax. So based on that, I was selected. Interestingly, the person who selected me, he was also not from a very let's say a metro background or from a very elite English speaking class of person. He was a sort of a person from Rajasthan who, what I assessed in the interview, didn't was not very familiar with English also. He was a manager level person, but not very familiar, not very fluent in English. But he was there because he was a intelligent guy. He had that zeal, had that passion to learn. So basically, reference can land you for a chance, but ultimately you have to prove that you want to learn, you have that passion to learn or to work in a specific field. You want to make yourself an expert in a specific field. So, a refer- other another thing is, many times, see, I was a first attempter, but I was passed through reevaluation in my final, and I didn't have a had a rank in my finals. I was 50% marks on par, just on par. So whether first attempt or how many attempts, do they matter? Definitely, that would matter. That would definitely matter. But it's not a that people who have much more attempts, they cannot enter into big fours. I'll give you an example that my partner, who is my partner right now, I had interviewed him in EY Chandigarh, and he had, I think, 3 or 4 attempts in final. And because seeing his dedication, or he's seeing his willingness to work in Big Four, or willingness to uh, make himself an expert in a specific field, we selected his candidature for the job. Similarly, recently, one of my ex-colleague who has now who has got selected in PwC Bangalore. So she also told me that she had gone for a Bangalore campus walk-in interview, initially they were only calling the shortlisted people. She forwarded her CV, and the team, considering her experience during her work in our firm or in her articleship time, they sort of accepted that now she can at least appear for the interview, and based on the interview they sort of selected her candidature for the job. So your another important part is that whatever experience you have taken during your articleship or after articleship, if you have worked anywhere, that matters a lot when you appear for an interview in Big Four. So these things have to be prepared. Your mindset has to be proper. You need to be convinced that I want to make a career in a specific field. Now, coming to challenges or what are the benefits of going to the Big Four? So Adarsh had touched upon, he had started touching upon a point that there are various service lines in Big Fours. So one is assurance, which basically is statutory audit and internal audits. Then second is the taxation field, which includes indirect tax. Then direct tax includes business tax, international tax, expatriate tax, transfer pricing. So all those and regulatory compliances, RBI related regulatory. So these are various different service lines under the taxation. Then third is your M&A. M&A, mergers and acquisitions. Those include your valuation, then due diligence, financial due diligence. So then tax M&A team. So these are your M&A. The fourth service line, which a lot of Big Four, which is coming up in Big Fours and also in other IT related firms, is your ERP related consultancy. Nowadays a lot of companies are going to for ERPs, and Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, a lot of ERPs are coming up. So CAs generally, everyone, they don't like the subject which is called ISCA. I don't know whether it is still there in the CA final syllabus. It used to be with us, and we were generally not very interested in reading that subject. But that ISCA is a very good area for CAs to pursue. Therein you sort of help the companies in their ERP implementation. You understand their processes, implement those processes in their ERP modules. So that is also a very good field for chartered accountant in Big Fours and other consulting firms like Accenture, Infosys, all those firms. The next service line is basically the government practice. Big Fours, considering their revenue size, considering their team size, Big Fours are able to get a lot of government projects. When I talk about government projects, it's basically Big Fours are in many places involved in policy making with the government. For example, let's take an example of Punjab region. So there's a department called Invest Punjab. I don't Punjab Industries Department. So who is making the policy of Punjab for the Punjab Industries Department? Who is helping the Punjab Industries Department to make the policy? That is a team from one of the Big Four of Chandigarh region, and that is that team is not limited to chartered accountant. That teams has engineers also. That team has MBAs also, but in through those teams you are able to be engaged in the policy making of the government. So that is also upcoming field which chartered accountants can explore. Now, as Adarsh mentioned, that deciding which field you want to pursue, which service line you want to pursue, in which field you want to make a career, that is very important. And having an understanding of whether I want to go to practice or whether I want to go into job, that is also very important. So I'll give you certain examples how that is important. For example, statutory audits. Now, you could be in statutory audits in the Chandigarh region, which is a tier 2 city, or you could be in statutory audits in a Delhi based region. Now, if you are in a Delhi based Delhi or any metro city, so the statutory audits would be generally of big MNC companies or big listed companies of India. And if you have future plans of going into practice, that may not be very very helpful to you. You may learn a lot. You may learn how documentation is very important, how policies are very important. You would have a you will get to know a good understanding of accounting standards, auditing standards, documentation. So all of those things will be there. But in future, if you plan to go into practice, that may not be that value addition, because the clientele which you will be dealing in your practice, that will be a different level initially. Maybe in future you may be able to grow up and make a good name for yourself, but initially the size of the firm, you may be having clients which have turnover of 50 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore, 10 crore. So in those clientele, the level of compliances or those will not be applicable. So what you have learned in a big firm may not be useful to you. Conversely, if you are in a Chandigarh region, because the comparatively the firms, the client size is smaller. So not all clients are listed MNC companies. Some are sort of what we call lala clients, or local big size companies, corporates. So in future, if you join a Chandigarh based firm, Chandigarh based any big four or GT for that sake, so you can, if you in future you want to go into practice, that is beneficial. Now, second thing is, let's say you want to continue in job and you join a big four in Chandigarh into statutory audit. Generally, the positions are into statutory audit. So I'm taking that example. You join a big four in Chandigarh into statutory audit. So what is the future of that? Let's say you spend 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Being a smaller city, there's not much growth possible because the higher positions are limited. So if at a consultant or a lower level, consultant level, there are 20 people in a team. At a manager level, there would be only a couple of people, and a partner level, there will be only one. So as you grow in the firm, there has to be competition, or some people have to go out of the firm. So therefore, considering the Chandigarh size, the growth perspective may not be there. If you want to stay back in Chandigarh, then again you have to come into practice, or you have to go into some other smaller firm, or you have to go into some corporate. The the level of working would not be the same. Vice versa, if you are in the Delhi region or any metro region, a lot of people who go into statutory audits, they later move into your corporates. So like Adarsh has come from Bharti. I have seen a lot of my friends who had joined along with me in Deloitte in statutory audits. They actually moved later. They moved to Bharti, Airtel, or similar corporates. So those options are going into various corporates. That option is available in the Delhi region, but not so if you're willing to continue in Chandigarh region. Now, what if you want to join in Chandigarh based big four firm, and later you want any growth? So either you have to go to Delhi again, or you have to move down to some other smaller firm, or you have to move down to practice. Now, similarly, if we take an example of taxation, now if I was in taxation for around 5 years, so that helped me to go into practice. But generally, when you are into taxation and in the initial couple of years, you are at a very lower level, and you get good experience, but you don't generally learn how to handle the client directly. You're not managing the project completely. It generally comes when you are 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line at a manager level. You are sort of independently handling. You start independently handling the client. So till that level, there's a lot of learning. And later on, if you come into practice again, either you have to settle for a client which is in a turnover range of 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore, 5 crore, smaller clients. And if you want to sustain or maintain your expertise area, I was in indirect taxes. When I came into practice, I had 5 years of experience, and I had my connects and all those things, and I was able to set up my practice and sustain myself in a specific indirect tax field, what I had learned in my experience in big fours. But if you leave at a lower level in big fours in a taxation field, you and you come out of big four and you start your own practice, then you may not be able to sort of sustain in that field only. You will have to start doing everything what generally a CA firm does. You'll have to do audits, you have to do tax audits, you have to do income tax assessments, returns, GST, MSME work. So all those are work. So that you have to be mentally prepared that if you are going into taxation field in Big Four and you want to later on start practice, better to stay for 5-7 years. We plan for that. That until and unless you stay for 5-7 years in Big Four in a taxation field, if you come into practice, you will not be able to maintain that taxation field. And I've seen that with a lot of my friends. Those who have spent around 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years with Big Fours, and then they've come into taxation practice, they're able to maintain their expertise. They're able to work in that specific field only. But those who come out early, they generally start doing everything. And I think we have a lot of examples in Chandigarh only. A lot of CAs who have worked for a couple of years, 1 year, 2 year, 6 months, and in Big Four, and they later coming back, they started working on all the subject matters for chartered accountants, not specifically on the field on which they had worked. So that is very important that you plan accordingly. You have your clear vision what you plan to do. One of the challenges of Big Four is you need to be fully prepared is working hours. Uh, Personally, see, all the metro regions, the working hours are definitely tough. Chandigarh is a sort of a laid back city. So when in on my first day in my on my first day in EY, Chandigarh, so I was given an offer to move to Delhi because my partners said that Chandigarh is a city for retired people. So you Chandigarh is a sort of a laid back city, even in Big Fours. That is my experience. I don't know what is the experience of Adarsh and Mohit, but Chandigarh prima facie is sort of a laid back city. But when you come to any metro city and you're working in Deloitte or any of the Big Fours, you need to be prepared that extended working hours will be there. Uh, uh, in all the Big Four, Saturday Sundays are off, so it comes out to 52 Sundays, 52 Saturdays. Most of my friends who are in statutory audit in Big Fours, Saturday is never off. Out of 52 Sundays, generally they get 26 holidays. Balance are working, either from office, either from home. Plus they get Diwali holidays. So this you need to be prepared. While I was in Deloitte Gurgaon, I was at a senior consultant role. So I generally I used to reach office around 10:30, and evening time used to be around 9:30, 10, sometimes till 12 o'clock also. So that was 6 days a week. That was the schedule, and and plus you have a travel time. I was staying in Delhi GK2, and it was used to be 1.5 hour traveling morning. If you miss the bus, you have to come by metro, travel by metro. I think most of you know how metro is. Then morning, let's say you have to start at 8 9 a.m., reach office at 10 a.m., then work the whole day. It's generally tough. It's a sort of a pressure profile. You work till 7 8 9 10 11, whatever time. The date of deliverable is very important. You can't miss the deliverable date. So, and then 9 10 11, whatever time, you may get a cab, office cab. You may not. If you not, then you have to travel back by metro, or you have to arrange a personal cab or personal vehicle. So this is a schedule which you need to adapt to. Lot of It is not that it is not possible. A lot of people adapt to. A lot of people are in Big Four for the last 10 15 years. I think Mohit has been in Big Four for quite some time. So a lot of people have been able to adapt, but you need to be prepared that this is how the schedule is. Uh, so another very important thing I would stress upon is when you're working in Big Four, you need to be very much careful about the policies. Generally, in various places, I'm specifically mentioning various places we see a lot of whenever departmental work, tax related work is there, a lot of hanky panky goes on with the departmental officers. So when you are in Big Four, you have to be very careful about that. Be very careful. Even if your senior says you to do such things, never do that, because your job is on a stake. If they are the firms are very particular about the policies, and if at any place the person is found uh, indulging in such activities, his job is definitely gone. You may also face a court case, because the firms are very particular about their image or their brand image in the market. So that is very important. I've seen couple of cases where such things happened and people were fired. So you need to be very careful about the policies there. So definitely you learn a lot about your drafting skills. You learn about presentation, how to present, how to make PPTs, how to present before an audience. I would also stress upon this that it is not that you learn these things only in Big Fours. So I was in Big Four for 5 years, and personally speaking, I never gave a presentation. I was very fearful of giving a presentation. But when I came into practice, that time I understood that it's the right time. I need to start doing that. And gradually I started giving presentation. Today also I'm giving a presentation online. Then I started giving face-to-face seminars on GST and all those things. So it is not that you learn these things only in Big Four. They give you the environment. Definitely, you get a facility, but it is not that those are the only areas, places where you can learn these. You can learn these things outside also. Another thing, sometimes we think about that only Big Fours have experts. So when I talk about direct tax, the experts are there only in Big Fours, or if I talk about indirect taxes, the experts are there only in Big Fours. Uh, it is not like that. If in the Chandigarh branch itself, if you see a lot of very expert speakers regularly come. So it is, I would not there's no comparison, but it is not that you can become an expert only if you go through the Big Four route. You can, it all depends on your dedication, your learning skills. In a mid-sized firm also, you can, a lot of, Lakshmi Kumar and Sridharan, one of the biggest indirect tax firms in India, that is not a Big Four. That is basically a homegrown firm by two lawyers, Lakshmi Kumar and Mr. Sridharan. And actually, in my understanding, the amount of work all the Big Fours, the four Big Fours do together, that more than that work is being handled, taken care by Lakshmi Kumar itself alone. So it is not that the work, you can't grow outside Big Four. You have to go to Big Four. Definitely gives you a platform, but there is always an opportunity of growing outside Big Four also. You need to do your studies. You need to participate in seminars, learn, read, all those things. What will be expected from you in Big Four, that you have to do. For example, in Big Fours, uh, important thing was that we regularly used to have had seminars. It used to be called continuing education. So every week or every month there used to be a seminar or discussion on recent case laws, recent circulars, recent judgments, all those things. Plus, daily in my mailbox, I used to get at least 3, 4, 5 emails of updates of notification circulars, judgments which are coming to me. So when I'm getting the bombardment of updates, and I'm being regularly given training, generally, it ultimately it's my responsibility to take benefit of that, learn from that, and uh, increase my knowledge. So similarly, once I left Big Four, I started my own practice. I made a point that I had to continue doing that. Then only I can sort of maintain my knowledge. I can have that experience. I can have that knowledge. So, for example, in my organization, we also have the similar subscriptions to all the portals, news portals, judgments. We regularly daily I get 5-10 mails of various judgments, notification circulars which are new. Similarly, we in our office we regularly have training sessions on indirect taxes. So base, those things you have, if you have learned something before, you have to continue doing that, or you can, if you do that outside also, you can also become a expert in that field. So I think we are already running out of time. So to conclude, I would like to say that Big Four give you a good platform to make yourself an expert in a specific field, but you need to evaluate how long are you willing to go for Big Four. If it is a long term, then it is definitely beneficial. If it is short term, you may definitely get a brand name to associate yourself, but you need to be thoughtful. What is your future career? What is your future career path? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mudiji. Rightly said by Mudiji that we should all have fair enough or willingness to work if we want to go to the big four firms. Thanks, Mudiji. Thanks a lot. So, in the end, our last speaker of the day, CA Mohit Kapilaji, he will share the experience on working with Big Fours. CA Mohit Kapilaji has over 10 years of consulting experience, is associate director with KPMG India, He has also worked with E&Y. He is also the direct tax lead at KPMG Chandigarh office, and his work profile includes experience in transaction structuring, including mergers, acquisitions, due diligence, cross-border transactions, and succession planning. Now I request and invite CA Mohit Kapilaji to share his view on the topic. Over to Mohit ji.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope I am audible to all.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Okay.
sir.
So hello and good afternoon, and thank you CA Amitoj Kambojji, CA Saurav, CA Anil Kakkarji, and the entire executive team for organizing this session and letting us interact with the young minds on such a polarizing topic of Big Fours and non-Big Fours. And definitely purpose for us to be here is to share some experiences which can help you shape your career. So I'll just like to take help of a presentation that I've made. If I can just beam it on, and you can just confirm if you can see it.
Yeah, sir.
So you're all fresh saplings for us, and our purpose will be to educate you to the extent possible. I'll just quickly start with my, I've already talked about the chairman and the executive team and my colleagues Adarsh and Mudit, who have shared very interesting points. So I'm also cognizant of the fact that I am in between you and your lunch. So I'll try to be brief and yet at the same time be useful to you, and look forward to your questions and questions. So first of all, let me just begin with this fact that why do you want to be part of a Big Four? If you can use the chat pod and give some responses. Anyone on why do they feel it necessary to join a Big Four? Why is it necessary? Why do you want to do that? For better exposure, okay, one answer. Anyone else? Brand value, corporate culture in the initial stage of your career. Okay, point taken. Better option to enter into the corporate world. Okay, best option rather. Okay. To acquire knowledge and expertise, to gain experience how do firms work and handle big clients. Personal growth, better version of yourself. Wonderful. Okay, anyone else? Any one more response? Okay, no worries. So I've been with the Big Fours for like 10 years now, and it's been a hell of a roller coaster ride for me. And you know, before I start sharing my experience, I just wanted to share one more fact. If you can just help me recognize who this individual is. Girish Ahuja. How about this person? I'm so sorry, I'm just not able to see the chat pod along with the screen share. So one second.
Not an issue, sir. Go ahead.
Bear with me. Technology can be helpful, but can also be very overwhelming sometimes. Okay.
Mangalam Birla.
Yeah. How about this one? Let's have the full slideshow now.
Yeah.
How many of you can recognize these individuals? Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, Kumar Mangalam Birla. Yeah. What about the others?
Atul Gupta ji, Vice Worthy President of Institute.
Wonderful. Okay. I just wanted to point out this, this slide to showcase that these are some individuals who have had a lot of success And one thing in common amongst all of them is they are all chartered accountants. And they have done really well for themselves. May not be in the same line of business, but then yes, none of them are part of a Big Four accounting firm. So your questions of brand, your success, your growth need not necessarily stop at a Big Four juncture. They can go. The fifth individual is the CEO of HDFC, Mr. Aditya Puri. And since we are now talking about Aditya Puri, let me just take you to the next slide. And this is a recent conversation. This is a recent news report where we are discussing the pay packages of SBI Chairman, Mr. Rajneesh Kumar, and CEO of HDFC, Mr. Aditya Puri. And it's a startling number that Mr. Rajneesh Kumar is drawing close to 30 lakhs per annum, whereas Aditya Puri is getting somewhere around 55 CR, 11 CR of a confirmed gross salary, and rest is perks and stock options. So maybe I'm able to change your mind, and maybe you can now start thinking about joining banking rather than a Big Four. I hope this entices you a little bit. Okay, so moving further to talk about my experience and how my journey has been. So it's been like 10 years, as I mentioned, but given the time frame, I may not be able to summarize all the experiences. But I'll especially like to mention about my joining, the way I had joined the organization. So my first job was Ernst & Young at Gurgaon in M&A tax practice. And just to share with you how I got hired, I got a call from my CA guru, tax guru, mentor, CA Arvind Tulli sir. He had organized a placement drive at his institute, and we were invited to appear for an interview at EY. So it was an HR round. Just to share with you the process, first there is a HR round, then you go through a technical session, and then there is a partner discussion. After that, you are offered a position in the company. So I had an HR round at Arvind sir's institute, and of course, whatever questions they asked me, I was able to answer, and I was called upon in Gurgaon to appear for the technical interview. Now you can imagine this was a very nerve-wracking situation for me or for anyone who has recently qualified, how to get into, what to ask, because you don't have exposure of big audit or big non-CA firms as such. I did my articleship in Chandigarh, so that thing was really a nerve tensing situation for me. So just to add to the tango, what I did is I reached the venue 1 hour late. I accidentally visited their old office that was in Delhi. I couldn't realize the fact that they had shifted to Gurgaon a couple of months back. So I kept on searching them in Delhi, somewhere in Mehrauli. And when I had, panicked a lot, spent a lot of time, that is when I, chose to call the HR and ask the direction or the coordinates of their new office. When I reached there, of course, I was late, but then they were very accommodating. They let me in. They let me participate in the group discussions and personal interviews. And luckily, I was offered a position in M&A tax. Now, one lesson that I have from a hiring process is, number one, don't be tense. Things can go wrong, but at the end of the day, if you are, motivated enough, you can get through. Second important fact, which I wanted to share, is about my profile. I was hired in M&A tax. So just to tell you, for your knowledge, what we do is we take part in mergers, demergers, slump sale, and transactions. So more or less the tax aspect of a transaction. So I had no earthly idea what do these people do, because I had come from a CA background where I had done routine tax work, tax returns, TDS returns, assessment, litigation, and something of that sort. So I continuously, when I was offered a position, I asked them if you can take me in corporate tax, as I am very comfortable in that. But you know what the partner told me? So Mohit, you are asking for a general OPD, whereas I am offering you a brain surgery. Just think about it twice and then come back to us. So I took a week's time, and then I called them and said, okay, I am ready to go ahead with this. So here is a lesson for all of you. sometimes you have something fixated in your mind, but it may not be the end result for you. So you should always be open to opportunities, always be open-minded. Generally at this age, we are all, very myopic in our vision. We see only this, okay, this is what I want to have. If I'll have this, life will be happy. And we all recognize this fact that that is not the truth. We reach one thing, then we aim for the other. And that's how things goes on. So I took this opportunity of working in M&A tags. So if I was not flexible at that time, I may have been doing something else. And luckily, after maybe 6 months or so, I found some passion in that work. And I'm able to continue till now. It's been like 10 years now. And it has been a good experience. Something I really acknowledge about working in such organizations is the brand that they come up with, the kind of clientele you have, the kind of expertise. When you specialize in a particular segment, you tend to gain a lot of expertise. And another factor is that their packages are also very reasonable. I mean, reasonably well priced, so that you are encouraged to work further. Certain factors that are challenging also is that it's a very competitive world outside there. So you need to have a lot of drive in you to work, to stretch long hours, to be self-motivated and be up to speed with all the updates, amendments happening around the world, be it your domain or be it, practices other than your specialization. You are expected to be aware of that as well. And most importantly, whatever client you are doing, it is also expected, since you are coming from such a big firm, that you have a sector intelligence or some knowledge of the sector you are working in. Let's say you have a telecom client or you have an auto client. You should be aware what is happening in that particular client domain. Yeah. So just moving further to my discussion, I think very important for you at this point in time is to introspect yourself. Think twice, thrice. Maybe you join employment somewhere, you start articleship somewhere. Do not be complacent with that. Start rethinking whether I am a consultant mind or whether I am a person who is happy to work in an industry segment. So this is something which can happen before your employment and even after that also. So never find comfort zone somewhere so easily. Try to hone up your skills constantly. And this next example is very useful actually. I'm sure everybody has seen this movie, MS Dhoni. Can I get a yes? Wonderful. So all the cricket fans have now started responding. So what has happened here is he's working with the railways. His family thinks he's very comfortably positioned in a company where he will have a constant pay raise, he will have a permanent job and everything. Whereas he has the drive to do something else. He wants to be with cricket. But then he also had a very realistic plan, as showcased in the movie. That, okay, give me 1 year. If I am able to do something, then it is fine. Else I'll find a job. Most importantly, what he said is that अगर मैं job के चक्कर में लटक गया तो मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाऊंगा. So that's a very important lesson, that you need to be adaptable and you need to think if you are good in something, you should chase it, but with a realistic plan. Another important learning from his journey as showcased in the movie is that he wanted to be a batsman, but his coach wanted him to be a keeper batsman because that was the need of the team. And later on, he developed as a keeper batsman. And I think we all know what kind of a keeper MS Dhoni is. Goes without question, right? So you also have to be very flexible and very open-minded, that maybe what you are fixated at is not really what is meant for you. You should think beyond it, be open-minded in that sense. And, opportunities definitely will come your way. And one more very significant fact that I wanted to point out is through this slide. If you can all see and maybe comment, what do you understand by this? So the point I am driving at is grass always looks greener at the other side. we always think that so-and-so person working in so-and-so organization is all, it's all enjoyment and I am left out to dry. So that's not the case, very honestly. People working in the Big Fours also see some other firms, some law firms, or people migrating to Canada or something else. They may be making a major deal out of it. So it never ends. It's a human nature to think that other person is having a ball and you are the one who is really toiling a lot. So you have to recognize this condition of yourself and get over it. And moving further, again, a most important thing in life, you may be in a big organization, in a medium organization. What really matters is what kind of a mentor or a boss you have. If you have a good boss, no matter the size of the organization, you will be happy and have a satisfying career. But even in a very big organization, your boss is very pokey, you may not really be happy. The only happiness that will come to you is on the 1st or 7th of every month. And after that, you'll be all again back to your basics. Yeah. So just to give you some, key takeaways. You should work on yourself constantly. You will qualify your CA. You may have qualified your CA. That doesn't end the debate there. You'll have to, stretch yourself further. There are a lot of things that you need to learn. Time management, etiquettes at office, email etiquettes, your health, the way you eat, the way you talk. These things really matter a lot, right? And of course, yes, most importantly, since you have achieved the goal of doing CA or would be achieving it in the coming time frame, you have to think about what happens in your life after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Where do you eventually want to be? Agreed, point taken that you may go wrong in your judgment. Okay, I wanted to do this, but this doesn't sound my cup of tea. But then you always have the flexibility to change yourself. You're not a ball that is fixated at some place, right? Another important factor is that you need to ditch your comfort zone. What happens is when, even I can share my experience when I was doing my articleship, we used to do a lot of litigation work. And I used to think litigation is like whole crony success. That if I keep on doing it, I'll have a good revenue and I'll enjoy my life. But then, yes, when this interview happened, I was offered another different profile. I took a chance. I really feel happy about it, about taking that decision. Now, if I were to look at litigation, of course, I would have appreciated it, but not at the extent I appreciate my M&A tax. Yeah. Another important factor is time management. And maybe Adarsh and Mudit can also add to this that, eventually things will become so overwhelming for you that you will have to make a distinction between what is important and what is urgent. It need not be the same, right? And again, as I said, look for a long-term perspective, a 50,000 feet perspective. Whatever you're doing now will matter to you after 5 years or 10 years or not. So that is also very essential in your life. Avoid conflict goes without saying. Whatever organization you are taking up, you have to avoid conflict, be in harmony with anyone. And of course, yes, last point is most essential, that you should continue to seek guidance. What happens is sometimes we become so self-confident that we can do everything, but challenges will come your way which will test you, and you should seek guidance from your seniors. And I'm really happy that this branch is so active and organizes these kind of sessions. Back then when I qualified, there was no such initiatives happening, and you were really dependent on whosoever you have known personally. So you should really appreciate the branch that they come forward and do this spontaneously. Yeah. And another fact that I wanted to mention about, and probably the most important, is self-motivation. It is up to you. You realize wherever you are, whether you are really here or you are nowhere. So that is something which you have to think through. So with this, I'll conclude my topic and open the forum for Q&A, and I'll invite my colleagues to help me in that.
Thank you, Mohitji. Very nice and a brief presentation you have given, sir. So now, may I request Sakshi or Oda? She is with us. She will take the question, and simultaneously it is answered by our three guest speakers with us. Sakshi? Are you listening? Over to Sakshi.
To unmute myself. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good afternoon,
Sakshi,
sir.
take first question. Yeah, good afternoon. Take
Yeah.
questions, Sakshi.
Sir, there's a question from Raghav. What makes resume selected or getting an interview call from GT Chandigarh? He himself sent mail many times through LinkedIn connections, but he never got call from GT.
Thank you, Sakshi.
So,
I think Adarshji is better to
yes,
give the
sir.
answer about GT. Na? Adarshji?
Am I audible?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
Adarsh.
sir. Sir.
So, Raghav, what happens, as I said earlier, the opportunities available in Chandigarh are not that big in comparison to what are available in, probably metro cities. So I have also seen these things, that students due to proximity to Chandigarh, they are more interested to join these firms in Chandigarh. But we also have our limitations. We have a set of people which we can hire, and at a time the number of people we can accommodate in office, that is limited. So this can happen to anyone, that you probably are running after HR and you are not able to get a response. But what I'll suggest is, there is a standard set of protocol which is being maintained with these firms. Uh, you reach out to the, there is an online option available at the Grant Thornton website. There is a particular career link. You go to that option, you fill in your details, and in case, this is basically a demand supply thing. And if there is a hiring, there is a requirement in the firm, then definitely they will get back to you. And in case there are no opportunities, it could have been a situation you would be writing to them and there would not have been an opportunity. So probably they would have not got back to you. But don't be disheartened by that. If GT doesn't work out for you, there are other firms. Probably you can try there. This can happen to anyone. So don't be disheartened by that, and keep trying.
Thank you, Adarshi. Thank you. Sakshi,
Yes,
over
sir.
to you.
So next question is from Falguni, and same queries been asked from Kajal Makicha. They're asking, do Big Four firms hire articles who have only cleared their Group 1, IPCC Group 1? Like if they have cleared their single group. So do Big Fours hire
Mohitji,
articles?
Mohitji, do you want
Sir,
to say?
honestly, I would not know this answer because this is something looked at
Okay.
in HR, but I
Okay,
can of course
Mohitji.
check and get back.
Okay, okay. Okay, Mohitji, do you have an answer for this question? Muditji?
So,
Sorry, Mudit.
yeah.
Even I am sorry, I'm unaware about this.
Okay, okay, ji. Not an issue.
So
So we will get back to the
what
Falguni and
practically.
yeah, that's it.
So, Kajal and probably others, for others, as per the HR policies, there is no embargo to hire trainees who have cleared only Group 1, because that is a policy of institute, that a student, whenever he passes any group, he can be accommodated, or he starts his articleship with a chartered accountant. So there is no particular set of policy, and yes, we do take students who have cleared their Group 1, but there could be it also depends upon manager to manager. Some manager might think that if only one group has been cleared by a student, after I invest 3 months with that student, he will again go back to his leaves. So it would depend on manager to manager, but as such, there is no embargo. You can join a firm after clearing your Group 1.
Thank you, Adarshi. Thank you. Sakshi, is it any question there or?
Yes, sir. So there's
Yeah.
one more question from Falguni. Does an MBA in finance assist in improving our portfolio for Big Four firms as a CA?
See, again, I think it will depend on the kind of depth or expertise you have. There's no straight jacket answer to this, whether an MBA finance will do this job better than a CA. Of course, depends on what kind of work each individual would have done. So if you have really worked hard on something, or maybe in this particular domain that you have talked about, I think it will work for you irrespective.
Thank you, Sakshi. Do you have any question?
Yes, sir. So there's one more question from Nitin
Okay.
Gupta.
Okay,
He
please.
says Big Four gives only exposure in only one single field. But sir, but in future there's a plan of practice. How will Big Four
Okay.
exposure help in practice?
That's a good question, actually. I mean, I think you should be very open-minded when you start your career, be it your uh, articleship or be it your initial years of your career. You should be very open-minded. You should look to explore more, and then later on, when you're comfortable, you should try and finalize on a particular thing. Of course, and it's not that once you're with the big fours and you're doing internship in a particular line, let's say indirect tax or direct tax or audit, it's not you're not flexible to move to something else. You can always do that.
Thanks, Mohit.
Yeah.
I think Mudit also touched that point. Mudit,
Yes.
do you want to say something on this question, sir?
I touched upon it in my discussion that
Yeah.
generally, if you're going for, you want to do practice and you want to stay in a specific field, it is always better that you spend a decent amount of time in Big Four so that you can have that expertise in a specific field. So if you
Yes.
want, so that is very important.
Rightly
But
said,
if
Mudit.
you anyways if you spend a short amount of time, a year or two, you'll definitely learn a lot of things. You'll learn drafting and all those things, so that will, you'll have certain amount of presentation skills, so that will definitely help in the practice. But client uh, clientele perspective or something like that, that you'll have to maintain yourself. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mudit. Sakshi.
Yes, sir. So there's a question
Uh,
from Raghav. He has
yeah.
already started his articleship in a small firm, and now he's asking, will it be a good idea to defer his CA final attempt and go for an industrial training in Big Four?
I think Mudit is able to give the answer of this question. Actually,
I think industrial
Mudit.
training. I think industrial training is not available in Big Four. And to my understanding, industrial training is for when you are willing to go for a training in a corporate. So that is industrial training. In Big Four, you have a regular training because it's sort of a CA firm. So, industrial, as far as industrial training is concerned, that definitely helps you in your later interviews because you have on ground experience of how working is being done in the industry. So, if you plan to go for in future into industry, that will definitely help.
Thank you, Mudit. Sakshi.
And so there is a question from
Yeah.
Pooja Singh. She's
Yeah.
asking like hiring cycle of Big Four is already completed, and perhaps she has missed last date is 30th July. So can you please talk about hiring cycle of in Big Four? And she
Who
says
is
she's
able
very
to
much
give the answer?
interested
Anamita,
joining in
speak.
Big
Yeah.
Four.
So Kajal, as such, in Grant Thornton, as such, I have not seen there is any particular hiring cycle or any particular date within which hirings happen. So it's always open. If someone leaves, there is a requirement of people. Hirings happen, or in case there is a business opportunity and people need to be worked upon that. So hirings are basically not related to any particular date, and uh, uh, I'm not sure why this understanding is there. Probably you can, again apply, and in case there is an opportunity, a particular team will get back to you.
Sakshi, do we have any question?
Yes,
I think.
there's a question from Piyush Gupta. Why would Big Fours in Delhi or somewhere else prefer a non-localite from Chandigarh considering the pandemic situation?
Mohit,
Oh, that's a quite
do
a
you want to
real
say
estate
something?
question. So, to be very honest, I don't know if hirings are happening right now, and even if they are, I think these are very open-minded firms in terms of hiring people from respective areas, and they may not find one in Delhi because there are several factors attached to it. And of course, yes, it depends a lot on the candidate. They don't restrict themselves to a particular geography. If they find a candidate is reasonable from Chandigarh, I think they are open to do that.
Thank you, Mohit. Thanks a lot. So, Sakshi, do we have any question?
No, sir. The rest
No,
are
okay.
repeated ones. We have already
Okay,
answered
okay.
these
Dr. Sir,
Yeah,
questions.
ठीक है जी, ठीक है. Yeah, yeah. हाँ जी अमितोष जी चेयरमैन साहब.
the query regarding the industrial training. I just wanted to inform that the institute
Yeah.
is so they will on 14th June. We will be sharing the details on our social media as well as they can get it from the branch itself. So from 14th June onwards, there will be a separate industrial training portal available for the CS students who want to go to industrial training in their last year of articleship. So that opportunity is there. As of today, I think there was a quite a big of physical involved in process involved in this to get into industrial training, and they have smoothened that process, and now they're coming up with this portal. So we will be sharing that detail.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks, Chairman sir. Thanks for the information. Sir, may I now take request with the permission of all these three speakers, do any student, if he or she wants to ask any question from you, can he or she mail to any one of you, sir? Mohit ji, Mudit
Yes,
ji,
yes, please, absolutely.
Adarsh ji?
We're here to
Yeah,
help you.
yeah, okay. Thanks a lot for sir. Sakshi, do care that we will provide the email IDs of all these three eminent speakers or anyone or koi bhi student if he or she wants to ask any personal question on the issue of this big four, so he or she can mail to anybody. Thanks a lot. Thanks to all of you, sir. So now in the end, I may request CA Amitoj ji, Chairman Chandigarh branch, if he has any concluding remarks for the session, sir, before the vote of thanks.
I must say thanks to all the three participants, sir. They have shared their experiences, which was very much required for the students as of today, as rightly said by Mohit also that during our times, these initiatives or these technologies were not there, right? So it was like a blind tunnel only कि जिसमें हम चले जाते थे और कोशिश करते थे कुछ मिलेगा इसमें से. So and although like Mohit bhai said that Arvind Tulli sir started this process of bringing Big Four here for HR interviews, and slowly and steadily as the branch grew and now we have a branch campus also for the past so many years running successfully at our Chandigarh branch. So these are the benefits which are available to these young generation who plan to go become CA. So I think these three faculties for today did a tremendous job in explaining them what it takes to be there. And as they all the three shared their experiences, we can find that they are not the ones who were there since very inception. So they grew from a small firms. They carried that experiences. They went for the interviews and cracked those interviews, and now they are sitting at those places where they are today. So it all the way Mohit's presentation also speaks. It speaks volumes about the efforts which are required to be put by us as a chartered accountant. We all are required to put these efforts, and I always take this that. We all are learners, so every day we have to learn. So whenever we wake up in the morning, we all have to learn, keep learning, because we don't know when one the way Mudit said that when he joined Big Four, he wasn't aware about what is presentations and all. Even in the Big Fours also, he was not that comfortable in preparing the presentations. But during that process, he learned that there are plenty of research work being done by the Big Fours, and when he shifted into his own practice, it helped him a lot. So he knew the SOPs which were being implemented in the Big Fours and which he could apply into his own practice. And I think those SOPs must have done wonders to his practice. So we have to adapt to that. We have to learn to those things and get induced to those things and make that as a habit into our practice. So this is what I want to say from myself. Thanks a lot once again, Kakar Saab.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman sir. Rightly said, sir. हमारे समय में तो ये इन्फॉर्मेशन ही नहीं होती थी कि जाना किधर को है जी. तो या सर, तो नाउ आई रिक्वेस्ट वाइस चेयरमैन चंडीगढ़ ब्रांच उपकार जी for the vote of thanks. Is Upkar sir is there, sir? Upkar ji, are you there? Chairman sir, I think Upkar ji not there. I think so.
Chali, no worries, sir. No worries.
No, not an issue. I may request Nikasa Chairman Saurav Goel for his concluding remark and vote of thanks.
Right, sir. Right.
Over to Saurav ji.
Thank you, Akkar Saab. Thanks a lot. Sir.
Please.
I would like to thank our learned speaker Adarsh ji, Mudit ji, Mohit ji. Sir, you have done a great job, great justice to this seminar by making all of us aware about what are the prerequisites, what are the expectations, what misconceptions generally students have after clearing the CA profession or during their articleship period. They normally have this misconception that whether they should do it from big fours or a bigger tag is required in getting a job. You have done a tremendous job, sir, by doing this, by explaining each and every important details about the big fours. Sir, specifically, you talked about work culture things, challenges like dress. You spoke about the dress code or your habits, your working hours, sir. All these things have pros and cons. So we who need to make a right decision from time to time. So thanks a lot, Adarsh ji and all the learned speaker for doing a tremendous job. And we will look forward that you keep connected with us with the branch in the times ahead also, sir, so that we can share with your experiences and the new generation can share with your experiences. With this, I would like to conclude. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, Saurav ji. Thanks a lot in the end. Thanks everybody. And thanks our today's guest speaker, Mohit ji, Adarsh ji, and Mudit ji. So thanks a lot. So here we conclude today's webinar, sir. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Really appreciate the
Thank you,
opportunity.
Ji. Thanks everybody.